Okay, good morning, guys. Let's wait maybe for a few minutes before the rest of the participants join in the webinar. All right. So yeah, let's wait maybe about 1 to 2 minutes before we begin the session. All right, I think we can begin the session right now. Okay, welcome guys. Back to another IC Markets pre-market live analysis, and today we'll be going through a few things. All right, later on I'll show it in the agenda slide as usual. Okay, so before I begin the session, please remember that everything in this webinar is educational in nature, and nothing should be construed as investment or trading advice. All right, so please remember to do your own due diligence before you guys trade. All right, so yeah, next thing is the agenda. Okay, so first things first, we will always start off with the high impact news events for the week ahead. All right, is to get you guys to understand a little bit more on the macro side of things. Okay, and the second thing is the key technical setups to watch out for. All right. And I'm your host for today. My name is Woon Hong, and I'll be going through with you guys today's pre-markets live analysis. Okay, so for the key news events for the week ahead. All right. So we can see that Monday itself, we don't have any news. All right. Um, and Friday itself, we also don't have any high impact news at all. All right. But for Tuesday, we have USD CPI. All right. So this might affect the markets a bit, right? For example, any USD pairs. All right. And for Wednesday, we have the Fed chair nomination vote. But most likely, as we all know, the Fed chair Powell has already stepped down. All right. And a new Fed will be nominated. All right. So this might affect some pairs. All right. It might actually do affect USD pairs as well. All right. Because and just want to put a disclaimer out there. All right. It is not 100% um thing that, for example, if whenever a new Fed chair is nominated, okay, the stock markets will go down. All right. But it has shown from the past few times, whenever a new Fed chairman has been nominated, okay, afterwards, stocks start to drop. All right. And the second thing is, of course, we also have the USD PPI news. All right. However, you don't really have to worry that much because USD PPI news would not move the markets that much. Okay. And then for Thursday itself, we have GBP, GDP. Will definitely affect pairs like GBP USD, GBP JPY, GBP AUD, etc. Okay. And then lastly, we have USD core retail sales. As for this news, right, this retail sales news, even though it's also high impact, but it works the same as USD PPI, it will not affect the markets that much. All right, you will not see movements like CPI news. Okay, let's move on to the markets right now, and let's take a look at how the markets look like for the week ahead for us. Okay. All right, so as usual, let's start off with the XY. Okay, so for the XY over here, right? Right now you can clearly see that the XY is below, starting to fall below the Ichimoku cloud. Okay, and there is bearish momentum forming already. All right, because you can see right here, after price actually broke past this level of ascending trend line, right? It has started to become bearish. Okay, so we will definitely want to see whether there is any opportunity for a reversal. All right, let me take a look. Okay, so the reversal that I am actually looking at is marked out from this high. Okay, so the level that I am actually looking at, right, is this area over here. Okay, this is my pivot point. And the reason why I would place it not here, right, but actually here is because price is already falling quite hard. All right. And if you go to maybe H4, you can definitely see that price is trying to break past this swing low support, right? It has already almost broke past this level. Okay. So the next level that it might break past is this area over here. All right. Okay, so next thing is, since I've placed this as my pivot point, does it align with any of my Fibo projection? Okay, so we can see that we have a 78.6% Fibo projection, which is very, very close to our pivot point. Okay, so we can use that as a reference. All right, and the next thing is, let's take a look at the bigger picture. Let me see if we do have a Okay, you can see that we have the 88.6% Fibo retracement, which aligns with the 78.6% Fibo projection. Okay, so this shows that we have Fibo confluence at this area. All right, so there is a high chance that if price were to actually fall towards this level over here, there is a stronger reaction as compared to this level. Okay, because this level is just a minor swing low support level, which is pretty weak in my opinion. All right. Okay, so next thing we shall look at is our first support. Okay, very simple. Look to the left over here. All right. The closest area to us is this swing low support level over here. Okay, and then for our resistance, we'll be looking at this area. All right, which is a overlap resistance level. Okay, so this will be the first obstacle that price meet if it were to do something like this, right? For example, it falls downwards. Okay, then this is the first obstacle that it might meet. Okay, as simple as that. All right, and then we will be marking out our bullish arrow to show that price could potentially react at this level over here. Okay, but let's see. I think this I will put a dotted support line over here, and the reason why is because there is a slight possibility that price could potentially react off this level as well. Okay, so because as much as price is falling downwards, it has reacted Okay, it has reacted at this level before. Okay, you can see one and then two. All right, so this is something that you want to take note of as well. Okay, so if dxy is falling, right, then the other pairs could possibly be bullish. All right, for example, any pairs that ends with USD might be bullish, but once it reaches this area, okay, then dxy goes up. Then any pairs that ends with USD, most probably it will show a bearish reaction. All right, and okay, next thing, let's move on to Euro USD. Okay, so Euro USD right now, you can see it's trying to be bullish, right? Price has already broken past this level, which shows that there is a break of structure. Okay, and the next thing that we can see is that price could potentially break past this high. Okay, that is what we are looking at. All right. So what I'll do is to look at a Fibo projection, and let's take a look. Okay, so we can see that over here at this swing high resistance level over here, there is a 61.8% Fibo projection. All right, so we shall place our pivot point over here. So this week is mostly about reversals. So you might want to take note of that and make sure that you use a smaller lot size and use proper risk management, because there will definitely be quite a bit of movements, and you don't want to risk your account that much for a reversal trade. Okay, because if you were to trade, you could possibly trade the continuation, right? But if you look at how price is, it's quite dangerous to trade the continuation based off how price movement. For example, if you were to trade continuation, right? Um, let's see. Let me give you guys an example. Okay, so for example, if price were to break past this level over here, right? Then what you want to do is wait for price to break out, retest, and then you enter at this area, okay, for a long position. And then your stop loss, you see, you have to place it below this area over here, and then your target probably at this level. Okay, this is what could possibly happen, right? But of course, it's also risky because you wouldn't know when price might reverse. All right, so I would rather look at the bigger picture and trade the continuation. Okay, let me see. All right, so for my first resistance will be at this level over here. Oh wait, I could possibly look for a. Give me a sec. Let me take a look. Okay, you can see that this 78.6% doesn't align with my Fibo projection. Okay, so I will take this out. Okay, let's see. Hmm. Okay, I think this is fine. Next thing is my first support, right? So my first support will be a very common level, which is this area over here. Okay, nothing higher than that. You could possibly put it here, but this is just a pullback support level, right? I think this area is better, right, in my opinion, with because based on how many touches it had, we can see. Okay, so this is quite simple. Okay, so we are looking for a bounce. Oh, sorry, free fall from this level. Okay, so like I said, it's pretty much patience, right? Because DXY is still unsure of where it might go. Same thing for these pairs. All right, hold on, let me do a quick check. Okay. All right, so next thing, let's go through GBP USD. Mm, okay, same thing for GBP USD. We could possibly look out for a feeble projection as well, and then we could see a reaction at this level. Okay, but like I said, it is of course also a retrace pullback from this level. Okay, because we are looking at a reversal trade. All right. Not possible to look out for a continuation trade based off current price action. Okay, same thing. Go to H1, you can see how price is not that ideal. All right. So we could possibly look out for a reversal trade instead. All right. Let me see. Okay, one, two, three. Yeah, 61 and 100. Okay, so our pivot point aligns with the 61.8% feeble projection. All right. And as for our first resistance, it aligns with the 100% feeble projection. All right. So this is something to take note of, right? Price could either react at this level or react at this level. All right. So these two things that you should possibly want to take note. Okay. So let's take a look. Uh, okay. I think we can use this on 8.6%. Okay, so we have the 78.6% feeble retracement that aligns with the 61.8% feeble projection. All right, so at this level over here, there is a higher chance for price to show a stronger reaction based off its feeble confluence level. All right, so let's wait and see how price might react once it reaches this level over here. Okay, and as for our support, our first support, very simple. We'll be placing it at this area over here. Okay, I think we can place it at this level, which is a swing low support level, right? You could possibly extend it as well at this level. Yeah, I think we can extend it over here. Okay, because this level is quite weak. It is just a swing low support level, but this level is a overlap support level. All right, so let's see how this might play out. Okay, next thing, let's cover all the majors. Okay, all right, so I was looking at USD CHF, right? And USD CHF has been quite decent, I would say, as compared to other pairs, right? Because of its price movement, you can see that it could possibly react at this level based off how it has been respecting different key levels. Okay, so why I would choose this area as my pivot point is because after we have a resistance level over here, price book pass, act as a support. All right. Then the next thing is, of course, acting as a support as well. All right. Then it could come back here to this overlap support level based off the 61.8% feeble projection. Okay. And let me see if we have. Most likely not, but let me see. Yeah. Okay, so we don't have any FIBO retracement levels, so we shall not use it. Okay, so it's only based off the 61.8% FIBO projection. All right, and then for example, let's say price doesn't react well at this level. Okay, if for example it broke past this area over here. Okay, so it does something like this, something like that, right? Then the next thing that we can do is to look out for any FIBO extension level, which is this first support level over here. Oh, okay, this 161.8% FIBO extension level. All right, which is right at our first support level. Okay, so that is only if price doesn't respect this area. Let me see 61,800. Yeah, 61. Okay, so I think it's pretty straightforward for this USD CHF. We are looking for a bounce from this area. Okay, either from this level over here or this level. All right, pretty simple. Okay, so next thing, let's take a look at USD CAD. All right, so for USD CAD, it's not really moving like the way I expected it to move, right? So as you can see over here, okay, what we might be able to see that you can see how it's performing a little bit different, right? USD CHF falling quite hard, but for USD CAD, it's actually going up, right? Which is a bit weird in my opinion, right? So I will usually just try to stay out of USD CAD because of the way it doesn't respect proper price action. All right. But let's see if there is any potential. Let's take a look. Yeah, not much level that I can see, right? Based off the daily time frame. H4, yeah, H4 probably you can look to enter buys, but on the daily time frame, nothing much that we can really do about it. So I think we shall just leave USD out. We don't really have to um, put our attention to all of the majors, okay? Just the ones that matters the most. Okay, so let's take a look at, oh, okay, so for USD JPY, let's see. Previously, we were looking for a sell at this level over here, but price failed to come out all the way to this level over here. It actually reacted to this area instead, right? You can see how oops, instead of let me show you guys. Previously, ours was a pivot point here, but instead it reacted to this other area here. Yeah, you can see how price had a reaction at this level, and then it started to fall all the way down. Okay, so now the question is, where will USD JPY end up at? Okay, so let's take a look at DXY again. So DXY could probably fall, right? USD JPY, let's see. Hmm. USD JPY looks a bit. Actually, there's this level that I would want USD JPY to react to is probably this area over here. Let me see. So very mm, okay. I think DXY could continue to be bullish, but let's take a look at where we could possibly look for a bullish trade. Okay, so price already failed this level, so not possible to use projection, but we could possibly look out for a level which is here. Yeah, I think this is fine. This level is fine. Interesting. Okay, so price previously tapped the 61.8% Fibo retracement and straight away rejected up from that level. Okay, so we shall not use this retracement at all. Okay, so what we could look at next is probably a level which price might fall down to this area again, this pivot point. Okay, and then let's see the next area that price could. Yeah, this swing low support level should be my first support. Actually, I wanted to keep it a little bit tighter, right? Meaning that I would want to place my first support here, which aligns with the 78.6% Fibo retracement. Yeah, very close. But I think on hindsight, let's not use that. Play it safe, place it here. Okay, this level is actually pretty decent. I'm waiting for price to react at this level over here. Okay, but let's see how price will react once it reaches this pivot point again, due to the fact that it showed a very strong rejection over here. Okay, so it could possibly show another rejection from here. Okay, then for our resistance, let's see. Yeah, I think we can place it at this. Yeah, I think we can place it. Let's make it neater. We can just place it right at this swing high resistance level over here. Okay. Mm, yeah, daily time frame not much confluence for the Fibo side, but yeah, we could possibly look for a bounce. Because the fact that DXY is falling, right? Most likely USD JPY could fall as well. But as we all know, right, JPY pairs are a little bit more volatile, right? Sometimes it might be affected by the generic news that might not even affect DXY. Okay, so let's see how price might react from here. Not too important for this trade because we don't really have that much confluences. So I will just wait and see. Okay, so for NZD USD, last week we didn't manage to catch the trades, right? Because it was quite messy, right? It was just ranging, right? But finally, price actually broke up, like I mentioned. Okay, we just had to wait for the breakout and then trade the retest. All right, and right now, what we could look at is, of course, we could possibly see yeah, the next level that I am watching out for is this area over here. 78.6. Okay, so this level, right? Um, this overlap support level is my pivot point because of the 78.6% feeble projection. All right, so right now, all we have to wait for is for price to come out a little bit further. All right, and then we can possibly look for a entry. Weekly, okay. All right, so let's just wait for the reversal and then we might actually have yeah. Okay, so we also have a 161.8% feeble extension level, right, where our pivot point is. Okay, so this level shows that there is feeble confluence and high chance price could potentially reject off this area strongly once it reaches this pivot point. All right, and then for my first resistance, I think it's pretty straightforward. There is a level right here. Yep, I think let's place it. Let's not use this 100%. Okay, let's place this as our first resistance. Okay, at the very swing high resistance level over here. Okay, and as for my first support, I think it's pretty straightforward. We'll place it right back at this pullback support level over here. Okay, the thing is, price actually reacted off this wick over here instead of the body of the candles. Okay, so that is considered as a retest. I think on the H4, yeah, H4 it was at the wick as well, which is quite surprising, right? I was waiting for the retest at the body of the candle because uh most of the pairs, right, reacted off usually at the body of the candles, right? Not really at one single wick over here. You can see how price reacted off this single wick. All right, you can see here. And then I think it went up by about 80 pips. No, half of that, 40 pips. This was the 80 pip move. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. So this is one of the other reversal trade that I am looking at. Right, so this whole week is a lot of reversals, right? I think we sometimes we have a lot of reversal trades for weeks that are a little bit indecisive, right? Because of not really because of any global economic news, but mainly because a new Fed chairman is being appointed. So this will definitely cause a bit of hoo-ha in the markets. Yeah. And then every time a Fed chair is being appointed, a new Fed chair is being appointed, the stock markets will not perform well, right? It will have a drop, at least a 5% drop in the markets. But let's see if this time will there be a drop. Okay. There is a lot of speculation out there that Bitcoin will rise, right? And then stocks will drop. But let's see how it might perform. Okay, so yeah, AUD USD very very high as well, right? Let's take a look. AUD USD. Let's see how this might perform. Okay, looking at it on a bigger scale, I think there is a level that okay, price is already at this area over here. if I were to reset, right, price is already at this level. But this, I will place this as my intermediate support, which is a level that could possibly be broken past easily. All right. And then I scroll to the left side again. Let's take a look. Okay, so let me mark out this level. This swing high resistance level over here. This is my true pivot point. Wait, let me see. Yeah, pivot point, and then first resistance level. Then reset, and let's take a look. Should be at the 100%. Let's see. Okay, so we have the 61.8% Fibo projection, which aligns with my pivot point based off this level, which is all the way to the left. Okay, this pullback support level over here. All right, then of course our higher resistance level is this swing high resistance level over here. All right, so this swing high resistance level is a level that could possibly be broken past easily because price already showed a reaction very close to it before, right? But failed to have a proper price action. If this level was strong, it would have already did something like this, right? At least come down towards this level. But it didn't even move much before it started to go up again. Okay, so this swing high resistance level, I'll put it as a intermediate resistance level, which could be broken past quite easily. All right, and then for my wait, I think on the bigger picture, we might have a Fibo extension. Let's see. Okay, quite interestingly enough, we have the 127.2% Fibo extension level. That's why we have a reaction right here. Okay, but apart from that, I think the next level that price could show reaction, right, is this pivot point over here. Okay, because this is a very important level. You can see how price, this was the area where it caused the first change of character, which is right here. Okay, then afterwards it's a free fall all the way down. All right, so this is the key level over here, this whole thing. But of course, I wouldn't use this whole box, right? We go level by level. Okay, so let me reset. And then for my first support, I think it's pretty straightforward. Let's see. I was thinking use this. Yeah, I think we can use this overlap support as our first support. Okay, so we'll be looking for a sell towards this downside. Most probably this will be broken. We just have to wait and see. Okay. All right, so after we have finished all the majors over here, right? For those of you who have just joined in, feel free to let me know if you guys need me to go back to any of the pairs, and then I will just show you guys the chart again. And if you need any further explanation, right, just let me know in the chat box down below. Okay. So after we have finished the majors, right, we'll give you guys maybe 1 or 2 minutes, right, for you guys to process a little bit and let me know if you have any questions for any of these pairs that I've just gone through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, any of these 7 pairs. Or if you want me to go through DXY again, right, feel free to just let me know, okay? Or any other remaining pairs. Okay. All right, so I'll just give you guys like a quick 2 minutes for you guys to process a little bit more. One more minute. Hey. Oh, oh, Euro JPY. Okay, sure. Euro JPY. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think for Euro JPY, uh, instead of let's say instead of trying to look for a continuation, right? I think there is a very important level that we should look at, which is this area over here. Okay, you can see how many times price has actually reacted at this level, right? Resistance, resistance, broke past, support, support, broke past, and what could it act as next? Resistance. Okay, so it is like a flow. All right, we just need to know how price could react at certain levels. All right, so this level is, I think, is a very, very crucial level. Okay, wow, it's been a long time since I've traded Euro JPY, but I think it's quite interesting. Oh yeah, sure. Later on, I'll go through with you. After I'm done with Euro JPY, we will look at USD JPY. Okay. So for Euro JPY, right? So since we are looking for a sell at this level over here, right? It might seem like we are going against the trend, okay? But we need to remember that price has yet to actually cover this whole gap. All right. You can see how previously we had such a strong bearish engulfing candle. All right. So price could potentially cover up this whole gap over here. All right. So let's take a look at the next thing is of course whether we have any feeble retracement. Let's see. It's at the 78. Where is my feeble? 78.6. Okay, so we have the 78.6% feeble retracement level, right? Which aligns with the pivot point. All right. Let me see if we have a projection. I, yeah, I don't think we have a projection. We can't really use it. H4. Yeah, okay. So the trick is once price actually breaks past this high, okay? So once price actually breaks past this high, right, what we want to look at, right, it will form a Nike tick, okay? So once it forms a Nike tick, what we will do is to mark out our extension and see whether we have any feeble extension level. All right, as simple as that. Okay, so from what I can see, not much. Yeah, I think this retracement level together with this very important pivot point is a good enough level, and there is so much potential towards the downside. You can see how Euro JPY is already very high up. All right, there is a possibility that we might be looking for a bearish reversal. Okay, the thing is you can see right here, price failed to break past this previous high. All right, so what it could do next is react to this pullback level. I think this is a pretty decent level to watch out for. Okay, they're very simple. For our resistance, we can place it at this. I think this is already the swing high, the all-time high. Literally, oh no, this is the all-time high. Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, but this is all the way back in the 90s, 1970s. Okay, so placing this as our first resistance. All right, then our first support, put at the body of the candle. We don't want to place it too far. Okay, yeah, so this is the analysis for Euro JPY. Okay, I think it should be pretty straightforward. All right, okay, let's move on to, okay, George, sorry, Georges, right? Any questions? Okay, if you have any questions about this, do let me know. But if we can move on to USD JPY, just give me a thumbs up or anything will do. Okay. Hey, no worries. All right. Next. Okay, like I mentioned, for USD JPY is a little bit different, right? Previously we were looking at a sell at this level, right? Last week. Okay, but price failed to reach this high, right? And then it started to fall, right? So I want to change things up a little bit more, right? Compared to Euro JPY, right? USD JPY is a little bit different, right? It works a little bit different. So right now it's falling towards, it's actually in between, right? Uh, I would either sell from here or I would either take buys from here. Okay, but the more logical one is to see where price might end up at, and am looking at this whole area because price previously had a very strong rejection from here. Okay, so I would expect it to show reaction here once again. All right, because um if you go and see the H1 chart, you can see that price is below the Ichimoku curve. All right, and what it could do is to show a reaction here at this level and then fall towards here. All right, instead of, I think if you are waiting to sell at this level, you might have to wait for quite a little while, right? So the more logical answer is to uh trade at this level. All right, because I think if I were to mark out my Fibo projection, oh wait, oops. Yeah, you can see that we have a 61.8% Fibo projection on the lower time frame. All right, but let's see if price will fall towards this pivot point. Okay, so I think for now not much movement yet. And Monday itself, we don't have any high impact news. All right, so you can expect the markets to be a little bit less volatile. But I think this happened on okay, this happened on a Thursday. Yeah. Okay. So USD JPY not much movements as of right now, right? But the level that I am probably looking at is this area over here. Okay, based off DXY, I'm looking for a trade, waiting for it to bounce off this level. But like I said, price is still a little bit further from there, so we might have to wait a little bit. Okay, any questions for USD JPY? Oh, your name is so special. Gift. Love it. Okay. Yeah, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask me, okay? Let's take a look at gold. Yeah, gold didn't really have much movements. Hmm. Okay, for gold, I think the next level that I'm actually looking at is this area. Okay, pivot point here. Resistance here. 61.8% Fibo. Okay, 61.8%. Okay, so for gold, right, 61.8 Fibo projection aligns with the first resistance, and then pivot point, we have a overlap resistance level. Okay, so let's see. Most probably, I would say gold might react at our pivot point, but hard to tell, right? Because it's gold. Okay, so keep it very simple. Then for our first support is this pullback support level, right? This is definitely the first obstacle that price might face. Okay, so we are looking for a sell towards this level over here. All right. Um, yeah, I think gold should be quite straightforward. Actually, price could also show reaction at this area, oh, it has already showed a reaction. Yeah. So the next level that I would probably look at is this pivot point. Okay. Anything from that, don't trade. All right, because price is quite indecisive right now, I would say, for gold. Okay. Let's maybe take a look at Bitcoin, and then we will end off this session. Okay, so for Bitcoin, very, very beautiful. Right now, Bitcoin is on the rise. So what I am looking for is definitely a pivot point towards the upside, right? Which is this level. Okay. This is a level that I'm looking at for Bitcoin. Let me see. Yeah. Left side don't have anything. So let's focus on what we have at the current moment. Okay. Then let's see. Yeah. We do have a 50% feeble retracement. Very nice. Okay, and am very sure we have a projection as well. 78.6%. Oh, it tapped already. Okay, let's not use it. Okay, so this area, I'm just waiting for price to come down a little bit more, right? H4, very likely we can see price show reaction either at this level, or my pivot point. Okay, so just these two levels that I could look at. All right, then back to this bigger picture. My first support is at this area over here. Oh, very, very beautiful first support. Okay, then zoom out a little bit more. Your first resistance, let's see. Yeah, I think we can keep it simple. First resistance back at this high over here. Okay, so we are trading within this range. All right, so Bitcoin, we are looking towards a bullish angle. So let's see how Bitcoin will react once it reaches this level over here. All right. Okay, so one thing to note is that I think this week will be a little bit slower, right? Because we don't really have much news. Okay. Monday, Friday, no news at all. Only Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the ones that might show some form of movements. Okay, so you don't really have to look at the chart so often. Monday, don't really have to look at it. Tuesday can start to look at how price might react because we have USD CPI. Okay, then Wednesday, just be a little bit more careful because we have the Fed chair nomination. Okay, so other than that, yeah, so that's all I have for you guys. All right. Thank you once again for joining into today's pre-markets live analysis. And I hope that you guys will be able to catch the trades this upcoming week ahead. Okay, so that's all from me to you, and I shall see you guys again next week. Okay, and then afterwards will be Peggy. All right, so that's all. Take care, and I shall see you guys next week. Remember to always stay safe and trade safe. Okay, take care and bye bye.